think there's you think there's a generation that don't give a hoot about Elvis, really?
No, not at all. That's true. I mean, I think now there's a generation that just doesn't care. They don't know anything about him. Couldn't care less. I mean, they want to, they want to listen to all this new processed music and stuff, that they're listening to, that with Beyonce and all that garbage and everything else, and whatever they listen to. I have no idea, but that's I don't keep up with it. I don't know what's top 40 anymore. I don't listen to the top 40 stations. I have Pandora, and I can create my own channels. I like to listen to Simon and Garfunkel, and I like to listen to Elvis. I love Elvis. I listen to Elvis all the time. But the kids don't. I mean, it's a new generation, and this is the generation with the money. And it's Graceland is a relic. I mean, it's a relic from the past. It's not the same. The guest house at Graceland is trying to survive. They had that terrible incident with that outbreak of what is that disease that they have in the ventilation system that they had that
Ebola?
sent all those people.
Ebola?
No, it's some kind of a respiratory illness that can circulate through the ventilation systems, and it sent a whole bunch of guests at the new hotel to the hospital.
This is where is this place? It's next to Graceland Gates. Out the gates, which way? To the right?
It's on the north side. It's on if you're looking at Graceland, it'll be on the left side. It's this magnificent 450 room hotel. You have to see it. I was there playing the piano for the grand opening. I was there that day, sitting at the piano in the lobby playing. But it's incredible. Jack Sudden, who manages Graceland, came to, brought his wife. He came to hang out with me at the university. I spent the evening with him. You can see it actually. It's on my YouTube channel. With Jack Sudden, David Sack somewhere, where he's talking about all this before it was all completed. He came to do the show with me. But they're just, it's a luxury hotel now for the most part, and you really have to have some money to hang out there. I mean, the people that are hanging out there now, that hotel is not cheap. I mean, the rooms are $200 a night. I mean, that's where they start. I think for 3 days at that place are going to cost you $1,000 easily. So I mean, that's probably a start. That's probably for the broom loss. But it's very expensive. They have suites that are I think they have suites that are $5,000-$6,000 a night. But it's really high end, beautiful place.
Right across the street. Right across the street from there, right?
No, it's right next.
Right next to it.
The Heartbreak Hotel is gone. They tore that place down and closed it up.
They tore it down.
Yeah, it's called the Guest House at Graceland. You can see it online. It's amazing. The place is spectacular. I mean, it's literally spectacular. Absolutely incredible, beautiful place. Lavishly furnished. It's magnificent auditoriums and concert halls that are part of the complex that are dazzling. The entrance to the place is spectacular. They didn't spare any expense. I mean, they really did. It's magnificent. They tore down the old plaza and rebuilt the Graceland Plaza. It's magnificent. It's like Elvis City now over there. I mean, you have to see to believe. It's pretty spectacular. But it's not, I don't think they're generating the kind of enthusiasm for it like they thought they had in the beginning. Another thing they had is that Graceland initiated a lawsuit against the city regarding the use of the entertainment venues they had here, like the FedEx Forum. Graceland wants to build their own forum out there, like an Astrodome type place out in that area, or Superdome, or a what's that magnificent place in Los Angeles that incredible where Three Dog Night used to play there, and all those great bands.
Oh, I don't know. The Forum, yeah.
Yeah, they want to build something. Graceland wants to build something like that. Well, the Grizzlies basketball team, which has some kind of a lease with the FedEx Forum, tried to suppress the plans to go ahead with constructing an entertainment facility like that. And
How's the Overton Park show doing?
oh, it's doing fine, yeah. But here's something very sad. The Art Academy is closing. It's been there for 100 years. It's closing. The beautiful Art Academy, and they want to close the Brooks. But it's because of the change in the scenery in that area. So the Art Academy is only $7 million in debt. $7 million. That's really, when you stop and think about it, the money that the city spends on other, on the sports and all the shit, that they could bail the Art Academy out, but they're not going to do it. And you would think Fred Smith could even put up the money, or Avern Fogelman, or some of the other, even Lawrence Tish, Larry Tish from New York, who's the real estate developer in New York, sent his wife down here to negotiate a deal for the 100 North Main building, which is closed and needs quite a bit of repair. It's got some structural deficiency that they need to address, and so they sent Larry's wife down here. So they're going to pump all kinds of money into that building. I mean, I'm talking about millions of bucks. And from a family, one of the most philanthropic families in the nation, and you would think the Art Academy, they could bail them out, but I don't think they're going to, no one's even thinking about that, really. So.
You remember the time we were at the mausoleum, where was it, Forest Lawn? Where he was buried there, right, on Elvis Presley Boulevard?
Yeah, I was there the other day with Jake Allen. You know who Jake Allen is? Jake's magnificent, great entertainer. Look him up, Jake Allen. Allen. He's fantastic.
What were you doing there?
Incredible. Well, he wants to do a recording. He wants to record in the chapel in there because of the acoustics in there.
Well, go look up my video. I did one in there. You remember that? With Patsy Springer?
I wasn't I there with you when you did that?
Well, Patsy Springer recorded me in there.
Oh, that's right. It's incredible, the acoustics in there. But also, where Elvis was buried when you walk into the right side, where he was buried originally, right there.
That's yeah, of course. That's what I'm talking about. That's where I did the recording.
When the Presley family moved his body, the marble that was in front of in the mausoleum where he was, the piece of marble. The cemetery gave me a piece of that marble that was in front of Elvis's casket when they resurfaced that area. I got the original piece of marble that was over that. One of the side of that marble. I have that marble on my desk that I use as a writing tablet. I still have it. It was right in front of Elvis's casket inside the mausoleum there. And I have that piece of marble. When they replaced it, I've got the original piece of marble.
When you get a chance, go to YouTube and look up Hollywood Joe, an original site of Elvis Presley's burial, and you'll see how Patsy Springer videotaped me in there. You might get a kick out of it, man.
I will. Oh, of course I'll look at that. I absolutely will. I had some issues. My wife is buried out there at Forest Hill. My wife, Rhonda. And they ran over her vase with one of the tractors while they were out there cutting the yard. And I had to raise Cain with them to replace that vase. I finally fixed it up. So I was out there with Jake. I went out there to see if they had replaced it. Jake was in town for a concert at Lafayette's. And, I spent some time. We went to Coletta's and had dinner and just hung out. We went over there to look, and he wants to do a recording there. The acoustics in there are amazing. Inside that mausoleum. The mausoleum's, 125 years old, something like that. But that's a great place to make a recording. At least something that would be, to do some standards or something, not something that would, like something you would do perhaps, or, respectable musician anyway, would be a great place to make a recording. think it would. You know, I mean, the acoustics in there are incredible. You know, Nick Chatella is buried on the other side of Elvis. You know that, don't you? You remember
No,
Nick?
no, I don't know.
Nick was one of the greatest guitar builders in the region. He was incredible. He was brilliant guitar builder, a good friend. He killed himself. He gassed himself.
What was his name?
Nick Chatella.
What happened to Jerry at the River Records?
Oh, Joe, we were talking about him today. He was murdered. I was in there talking to him about a couple of weeks before that.
Well, they think Elvis was murdered too. You know, how much is the truth? How much is, you know?
I think Elvis was murdered. I've always thought that.
Well, how do you figure that, man? How many people would agree with that? That's the thing.
Well, I just think if you connect the dots, he fired everybody that was working for him that year. Klein went to prison. And, you know, Elvis was at the lowest point of his life that any human being could possibly have been. I mean, he really was. He looked horrible. His health was failing. They were giving him all kinds of shit to make him look horrible. He was suffering from unbelievable bouts of depression. He was very sick. He was trying to do everything he could to get back in shape. And I think that morning they gave him some bad drugs and it killed him. You know, and I think that's what happened. I can't prove that. I certainly can't prove that. But that's what I think happened to him. I mean, I loved him. He was great. But he was, you know, when I was there that day, and I remember, you know, I didn't see him, but his car was there. I know Ginger was there because her car was parked in front of his. And I didn't find out until later who had been there that morning with him. I know Billy Smith was there, and I know that either one or both of the Stanleys were there. But I just don't know. I mean, I wish I could find out. But I think whoever gave him the drugs should be held responsible for murder.
I'm trying to figure out who would have done that on purpose. You know what I mean?
Whether it was premeditated or not, even if it would still be of some form of manslaughter to give that man drugs, considering the shape he was in, the way he was suffering. You know, it was terrible. I mean, Joe, I went to the funeral. I saw the man in his casket. It didn't even look like. I mean, I could tell it was Elvis, but it was sad beyond belief. Really, he looked terrible. I mean, you could see he was bloated, and disfigured. You know, I mean, I was leaning right over his casket, looking right down at it. You know, I mean, I had my hands on his casket, looking right down at it. You know, so, you know, it was terrible. I mean, they had him ready for burial the next day, which was unbelievable. It was like he died, and they just brought the mortician in, they embalmed him, stuck him in a casket, stuck him in the hallway, and the next day he was there. I mean, it all happened like bing, bang, bam, thank you, ma'am. It was over.
That's pretty quick.
Oh, man, it was quick. You know, then they took him to Forest Hill and buried him there. And then a couple of days later, those two assholes, you know, got caught trying to steal his body out of the mausoleum. And then that's when the Presley family decided to get a special zoning permit to bury him on the Graceland property. You know, which happened very quickly. You know, I mean, you got to remember they moved his body within days after having been over there. You know, they arrested the two guys that tried to steal his casket. And those two guys who tried to steal his casket were working for Silky Sullivan. They were painters. They were painters who worked for Silky. You know, carpenters. You know, who were working in Overton Square at the time, painting that building, that breakfast place over there.
So today we got 41 years since he's gone, man. I'm looking at pictures of him and his mom, you know. The mother died 60 years ago on the 14th. You know that, right?
August 14th, yeah.
Well, she died, you know.
Groucho Marx died on the 16th, didn't he?
Babe Ruth did too. Babe Ruth and Elvis Presley died at 8:02 a.m. on August 16th. One in 1948, one 29 years later, 77.
You know, Groucho either died the 15th or the 16th, and Elvis's death overshadowed the same day. Elvis's death overshadowed the death of Groucho, which was just incredible.
And now we're going to add Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin, yeah. It's like the 27 curse, the 27-year-old curse thing. You know, with Jim Morrison and Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix and Jim Croce, wasn't he 27?
I'm trying to think.
I can't remember. Jim Croce was so great.
He was
really
good,
great.
man. He had some good songs.
Oh man, he was.
He had some
Wow.
great songs, Jim Croce, yeah. Well, what about, you going to get some rest tonight or what?
Oh yeah, I better get to sleep and let you get some sleep too. I know he's going to call me sometime in the morning, so. But you sound great. Love to your mom. I hope she's doing fine, Joe.
All right,
And,
man. Thank you for going down to Graceland for me tonight.
Well, you know, I love you much. I hope you're going to be fine tomorrow and have a beautiful day ahead, Joe. You know, if you need me, just call me, you know.
Just for the hell of it, go look at the video we did in front of Graceland in '92.
I will. I'm glad you reminded. Thank you for reminding me. I will do that. I sure will. I'll do it right now. I sure will. I'll do it now.
Good night,
Hold on.
man.
Can you hold on to the phone one more second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. Let me go to the computer.
Go ahead.
Hold on. My cat, he's blocking the exit here. I mean, it's okay. All right, I'm walking to the computer now. All right, let me, okay, let's see. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. All right, it's on YouTube.
YouTube, August 16th, 1992. You were there, man.
Second verse come up.
You were there, David Sachs.
All right, here it comes. I'll type in Hollywood Joe. Hollywood Joe. By the way, I found, you remember there was a science fiction film some years ago? It was called Night of the Comet.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that one.
I found the soundtrack was done by Chris Farren. Do you remember Chris Farren, Farren?
No.
I found some of that early 80s music. He wrote this song called Learn to Love Again. It's a beautiful song that I like to transcribe it for the piano. All right, Hollywood Joe at, what should I type in?
Graceland.
Hollywood Joe at Graceland.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's Hollywood Joe. All right, Hollywood Joe Gates of Graceland, 1992. Yeah, I remember that. Amy, I see you getting out of my Cadillac.
That's your Cadillac,
that's
yeah.
terrific. 92. Hollywood Joe in Memphis. Gates of Graceland, Elvis home. Hollywood Joe in Memphis. God, it's all over the internet. Jesus Christ. But I'm looking for the one with you at the mausoleum.
That's called the Hollywood.
Here's the Ramada Inn. I was with you that night when those sluts picked your pocket.
Oh, yeah.
I was there that night with you.
Yeah, at McNeil's.
Yeah, it's Joe and Nyack. Here's Joe getting out of my Cadillac. Oh my God. There's so much of you here. It's incredible.
And there's another one that's real good of you know, when you're over the gravesite, Elvis's gravesite. Now, you weren't there that time when Patsy Springer kind of like videotaped me. You know?
That's a good. This is a great memories of you at Grayson. Great.
And
I can't believe that old Cadillac. We had so much fun with that car.
yeah,
You remember? You know, Pete Seeger came to Memphis. Did I tell you the story about Pete? He was in town, and he came to town to dedicate the Civil Rights Museum. So I called him. He was staying at the Peabody Hotel, and I called him. And I said, Pete, if you have time, I'd like you to come do my radio show. I had him on the phone and actually talked to him He said, well, no, David, we've got to fly back to Woodstock, but if you want to come hang out with us and have some ice cream with me and my wife and our grandson, come on. And then he said in the same breath, is it possible you could drive me to the airport? I said, well, of course. So he was staying at the Peabody, so I pulled up the Peabody, and he's waiting outside for him. He's got his banjo over his back, and his wife, Yoshi, is there, and they had the grandson. He saw me pull up in that limousine you're getting out, that black Cadillac I had that you're getting out of at Graceland. And he saw that car, and I got out, ran over to him, gave him a hug, and shook his hand, welcomed him, I said, I'm so glad. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you at the ceremonies. He looked at me, and he looked at the car. He looked at me, he looked back at the car, and he looked at me, he said, David, he said, is that your car? I said, well, yeah. He said, David, I'm not riding in that car. I said, well, why not? He said, because it's a capitalist tool.
Oh, come on, man. The good part is that it's in a video at Graceland, and that's all we got to care about.
Let me tell you what happened real quick, so I had to think fast, and I said, Pete, I used that car to haul band equipment in. He said, well, that's okay then, well, I'll ride it. I swear to God. I had to tell him, he said, I'm not going to ride it because it's capital too.
Oh.
So I said, no, we used to haul band equipment. So he said, that's cool, then we'll ride it. So we went to Baskin Robbins, got some ice cream, and I took it to the airport. That's what happened.
Well,
True story, I swear.
I believe it, man.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think it hadn't been long. He just done that tour with Arlo Guthrie, up there. So.
All right, man.
It was great. Yeah, I want to see the one you did with Janet. Is it Janet Strickland? At the mausoleum.
Patsy Springer.
Wow. Yep. Patsy Springer.
It says Elvis original gravesite.
Oh, Hollywood Joe at Elvis's original gravesite.
Yeah, that's the one.
Let me see. Hang on a second. Don't hang up yet. Let me make sure I found it. Hollywood Joe at Elvis original gravesite. Hollywood Joe at Elvis's first gravesite. And here's Elvis Presley's empty grave, part 2. Original grave. Here it is. Oh, man, it's 17 minutes. That's great. Here it is. It's coming up now.
Your computer's working quick. That's good.
Yeah, well, I've still got a lot of junk on it. Here it is. I just gave you a thumbs up. Here's boom.
You know what other songs are on there, David? There's a
Hold on one second, Jeff. I'm sorry, do what, Jeff?
No, there's a song on there. I sit down at a pew. My battery was running low that afternoon. I plugged it into the wall right next to the mausoleum inside Nair's casket, electric, and I charged up the battery to the camcorder. It was amazing.
God
Man.
almighty, it's hard to believe you did this almost 30 years ago. Jesus Christ. It was 28 years ago.
I know you since '89.
Yeah, we've known each other 30 years. Yeah, it's incredible. Been friends 30 years, incredible.
I got to come and see you next year, man.
You have to, absolutely. You got to be here.
All right,
Yeah,
you
I
went
wish
to
you could
you
make
went to
every
Graceland. You went to Graceland for me. I'm very happy,
did.
man.
I swear to you, I did. I absolutely did. Yeah.
I'm
And
happy,
because of
man.
you, I went. I would not have gone unless you Unless you insisted that I go, I would not have gone. I would not have gone.
And I didn't want you to miss this. I didn't want you to miss this.
Yeah, I thank God you told me to do it. I never miss the day he died. I go there every year on the day he died. I didn't get out of my car. I just pulled up and sat, in front for a second.
That's all right. How far are you from there?
Maybe 15 miles, something like that. Not too far. About 15 miles.
That's really good for you.
15 miles.
I'm
Yeah,
happy
I
you did
appreciate
that for me, man.
Yeah. Well, get some sleep. Have sweet dreams, my dear brother.
All right.
I guess I'll talk to you in a little while.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Joe.
That was David Sachs, an incredible man in Memphis that I know since 1989. We went to Tupelo, Mississippi to Elvis's home, where he was born, and we've been to Graceland together.